Tokyo Game Show. We're so excited to be here back.
Well, you may have heard Sony made an announcement about the PS5 Pro, and you might be to go from the big screen of your couch to the small screen. Japan is our largest.
Is developing.
ソウルフレーム、これはまあ社内でもちょっと世代
運命という川を共に漂うかこの際を投げ命そのものをかけるか選択こそが私に残された道孔明よ私の定めとは何か
Koumei's passive, Shadow's Trinity. One of her weapons inflicts random status effects for a duration. Koumei's first ability, Kumihime, weaves the threads of destiny. Enemies who touch them suffer a random elemental status effect. A roll of triple sixes creates threads that will deal one of every elemental status effect type. Koumei's second ability, Omikuji. Koumei glimpses a favorable future and the precise steps needed to reach it. Complete the challenge presented to earn a decree. A roll of triple sixes grants a decree without having to complete a challenge. Koumei's third ability, Omamori. Surround yourself with Omamori charms, each with a chance to have enemy attacks heal you instead of damage you. The number of charms is determined by Koumei's dice roll. A roll of triple sixes grants invulnerability for the duration of your Omamori charms. Wield your foe's fate threads like the strings of marionettes. Koumei's dice determine how many status effects foes in front of Koumei will suffer. A roll of triple sixes maximizes status effect stacks and extends Bunraku to enemies behind Koumei. Koumei arrives with two signature weapons. The first is the Higasa, a gun umbrella-inspired weapon. The Higasa features a burst fire mechanic, with its alt fire unleashing a strong beam of damage. Kills from Higasa charge your alt fire. When aiming down sights, the Higasa spreads open to block incoming damage and charges the alt fire beam. Koumei's second signature weapon, the Amanata, is a divine polearm inspired by the Naginata style of weaponry. Every X swings provides a random buff, and max roll gives you all of the buffs at once for Amanata. Both the Higasa and the Amanata will have augments available from Steel Path offerings that afflict a random status effect and provide overall weapon stat buffs. Koumei will also have an alternate helmet, the Orihime helmet, for additional fashion frame choices. With inspiration to Koumei's abilities, two new emotes are coming. The first being the Buyo emote, and the second, the Rolling Fates emote.
We have Volt Raijin skin,
とまずこの2つから見ていきましょう。最初
inspired skin, and he also comes with cosmetics, a signa that we see here, as well as an ephemera.
デラックススキン、その名の通りライジンがノバの青桜スキンですね。
Oh wow.
And she will also have a signa and one of the greatest ephemeras I've ever seen in my face you may have seen is the Caliban Orfeo skin.
3つ目の デラックススキンもありまして
So what did we change? For his passive, we didn't really change much because it was already pretty powerful. But for his first ability, Razor Gyre, we changed it quite a bit. It is now a fast knife that moves forward, hits all enemies. For every enemy it hits, it actually regains some health to you and also refunds some of the energy that you spent. And then it applies a brand new status that only Caliban has. All of his abilities do Tau damage, and now it can deal Tau status. And what Tau status does is basically when an enemy is affected by it, they're more likely to be affected by other statuses. Be it from other players, from yourself, from your weapons, any source of status, now they get more of a chance to get hit. For Sentient Rat, we sped up the casting quite a bit. As you can see, it's much smoother now. Also, when enemies get lifted, now they're not like floating around, so it's much easier to hit them in the weak points. Also, once you actually hit them, they don't lose the effect like they used to. And also, we remove the cap on how many enemies can be affected by it. For Lethal Progeny, you can now get all 3 sentients with a single cast, and you can choose between 3 different types of sentients. The Conquilist is the one that you're familiar with, that attacks on melee, has the highest damage, and will also copy your 4th attack. And then you have the Ortholist, which specializes in ranged attacks. They will actually set up as turrets and spread a lot of Tau status around the field. And then you have the Summonist, who specializes in summoning a bunch of different sentients that will pull aggro from enemies and give you extra shield protection for you and your allies. For Fusion Strike, we sped up the cast, we also make you invulnerable during it. Also, we swapped a few things around. Before it used to be a beam, then an explosion, then we would leave a lingering field that would strip defenses from enemies. That didn't really work out great because you had already dealt the damage and then you stripped the defenses, so now we flipped it. As the beam is coming in, every hit from the beam is what strips the defenses. We also made it so now the beam can hit multiple times as it's passing by, so the damage is increased. Also, the base damage of itself is increased. And finally, any enemy that's hit by it gets tagged and then explodes after. So
Another change that we... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Edwin. So a couple other Warframe changes that we have in this update is we are making a couple changes to Wukong.
Yeah,
Muscle
so we-
Mommy Hildren, she's getting a few changes as well.
そうビルドロンファンの皆さんやこれは嬉しいんじゃないでしょうかね。結構ちょっと先に言っ
starting
て
with her brand new passive, now when she kills an enemy that's slowed down, they have increased chance to drop a health orb, and if the enemy is sped up, Null Star is now recastable by default. Also, we increase the base amount of particles it has, and now the damage reduction from each particle scales with strength. So between those 2 things, it's much easier to get to the cap of damage reduction. We also changed how the damage reduction works. Before it only affected health. Now it affects health and shields. We also changed the damage to blast. In fact, all of her abilities used to be all over the place in terms of which types of damage it did. Now they all do blast. And this one in particular has a guaranteed status and increased base damage, so it's much more effective. For antimatter drop, we made it so that it's much easier to control. As you move your camera around, it will actually stay much closer to the center of your view. You will also now be able to recast whenever you want, and that will make it travel much faster to whatever destination you're giving it. So it's much easier for you to like cast it, charge it, and then drop it as a bomb wherever you desire. We also made it a little larger so it's easier to hit, and now it has a much better communication for as it charges, it starts filling up. Also, we changed the charge mechanics so that it works better at lower levels of gear as well as higher levels of gear. For Wormhole, it used to have duration and charges, now it only has charges, and we now can see it visibly on top of the portal so you can know how many charges it had left. Also, we made it so that when you press and hold the ability, you get a better preview of where you're going to end up being teleported to. And as I teased earlier when I was talking about the passive, now Molecular Prime has a hold cast, which will do the fast version. So you have the normal version on top and the fast version on hold. And now you don't need to go into negative strength to actually get the fast version.
We have 5 new Incarnons coming. The Sestra, the Dira, the Yokina. Guess you wish Protea Prime was still
We
alive.
don't like. The other thing we don't like is that because resources are so valuable, people feel forced to use Vita even when they don't want to. So what we're doing is we're grabbing that resource buff and we're putting it into a mod.
We'll be adding 2 new mods to help fill out the Beast Weapon mod. On top of this, Beast Weapons feature a special posture slot, which lets you equip new posture mods which influence the behavior and provide a bonus to support that playstyle. For example, and speaking of behaviors, we will be making systematic improvements to how your pet moves and attacks, so that their attacks are more visible and useful. We hope this helps free up space in your builds and offers you more sensible weapons have either outdated stats or redundant designs. Our goal is to make the weapons more interesting and bring their power up to the level of the current king, the Verglas. In some cases, this is just a stats refresh, but in other cases, we have totally overhauled the weapon.
All right, a new invasion mission is coming to Warframe in Cetus. You're going to have to save Cetus, and this is how you're going to get Koumei's parts, her 2 signature weapons. Experience changes we're doing in this update, maybe related to a big one related to Steam users.
Yeah, just really quick, very exciting. If you play on Steam and you're
Cross-trading and cross-gifting is finally coming across all 5 platforms.
そうアップデートではついに全機種でクラスプラットフォームをプレイ
I am headed out. Need you on grid watch.
You got it. Oh, and hey, I gave your Tommy a full tune-up. Go ahead and fire her up.
Not bad.
We're playing around a little bit with what he could look like in game with some colors. He's going to be our sniper Warframe.
yeah, one of his abilities will certainly be an exalted sniper rifle.
Ooh.
そうサイト09、クインシークインシーがベースになったのこのウォーフレームは狙撃特化のウォーフレームとなっておりまして
Look at those
でこういう風になっているのでぜひ続報をお待ちください
And here's Quincy. And we brought here with us today some work in progress early versions.
Early works for a promotional video. So this video will be a launch
という
trailer.
ことでそうですねはいミラーですねはい
And then we got Quincy.
そうさっきも見たクインシーですね
And then we got Letty, not Josuke, Letty.
そうレイティですね
And Eleanor, also known as Nyx, and Arthur's sister.
私の鼓動を感じて大切にしてね。
めっちゃかっこいい。